Hey, welcome to the Sisterhood of the Traveling Bantha. We are your hosts, Denise,
and Rexy, and we are recording with special support from Council Member Mark Collier.
and we're broadcasting from our galaxy to yours.
May the force be with you.
Always.
Hey, Herd.
What's up, Herd?
Hi.
Hi.
That was really dumb. I got very excited and then forgot what I was going to say and just I am excited to talk about the Acolyte today.
I'm excited too.
And
Denise.
also, I was just telling Denise, so spoilers. Okay, we should start by saying that there will be spoilers.
And we are discussing episode 3,
Season
Destiny.
1 of the Acolyte, Destiny.
Yes, Destiny.
So if you have not seen it, please go back and watch the episode first and then come back and join us for this. There will be spoilers. We will be talking about everything in this episode.
Yes.
That being said, knowing that I was going to watch this, I just wanted to go on and maybe get some other people's opinions, right, about the episodes. I can't find anything happen. Everybody's mad. Everybody I have seen on my social media feeds is just so mad about the Acolyte.
We have very different Star Wars For You pages because my Star Wars For You page on TikTok is all positive.
What?
Maybe 90% positive, 10% negative. But if you go over to Star Wars, that's where all the haters come out. Is on not Star Wars, over on Facebook. Facebook has
and YouTube.
Oh.
YouTube too.
I don't go on YouTube.
Really?
I mean,
they're just so
I'm on YouTube.
mad.
I don't do YouTube.
Yeah. I don't normally, but I was like, I need something that I can just kind of play while I'm doing this other thing. And with TikTok, I can't close my phone and still listen, right? It's just people screaming about it, talking about either how boring it is or how terrible it is that Star Wars is using pronouns like he, she, they weren't pronouns before or somehow.
You know what this reminds me of?
Just didn't know if anybody knew that, but when you say, hey, he's in the bathroom, that's a pronoun.
Or hey, they're in the bathroom.
Pronoun. It's just part of speech.
Hey, where's Rexy? They're in the bathroom.
Yep. Right. It's always been part of speech. But I found people being so pissed off that there was a he, they character.
You know what this reminds me of, all the hate that the Acolyte's getting? Remember when Andor came out and everybody was like, it's so boring, and now everybody's like, oh, so great.
Yep.
Do you see a trend?
I had a really hard time getting into Andor, but I wasn't screaming and mad about it. These people are throwing fits.
But it's the same thing, and I've seen people post we didn't throw the we've never disliked the show like this before, and I was like, you guys got a short memory because
everything Star Wars does, you kind of hate.
Andor, there's no Jedi, there's no Sith. How can you have Star Wars without lightsabers? How can you have Star Wars that's a drama? That's serious? And
they were mad about it.
And it is literally now viewed as one of the best Star Wars shows of all time. And it got hate. So I think Acolyte's going down.
I need you to send me some happy.
I'll send you happy
because
I will send you some positive creators.
Thank you. Good Lord, everybody! I open it up and I'm like, I don't care anymore. You guys are so mad and so mean.
No. I got some great people on TikTok.
I'm having a good time with it. I do remember. You probably remember when we were discussing our episode 1 and 2. We were talking about how we weren't quite as excited as we were for the preview. When the previews came out and the trailer dropped, we were so stoked. And then episode 1 and 2 weren't quite as up to what we kind of expected, so we were kind of disappointed.
Because while watching the first 2 episodes, I was super annoyed about Indira.
And the first 5 minutes. So yeah. But then we kept watching, and I think we're both pretty into the show. I know I'm having a good time with it.
I think what's happened is with streaming services now, we're going to get to it. the episode. With streaming services now, a lot of times like the services will just drop entire seasons
Hmm.
and not have this weekly episodes back with cliffhangers, which is what everything used to be. One episode a week, you waited a week, you had cliffhangers,
Hmm.
and this TV show is supposed to be building up story. It's going to take time to get to the highlights.
Yep.
And
not every story doesn't go like this.
It doesn't
Stories go like
this.
this.
Or it's a slight climb, and then
That's
like
right. That's a story. People are mad that like episode 3 was a filler episode. I keep hearing that. Oh, or no, 4. Sorry, we'll get into that one in the next one. Sorry, I got them confused. Episode 3 was intense.
So good,
but it's just quit throwing a fit. Man,
it's way worse this time around than the last time.
Is it so hard to just be like, oh, I don't like this, I'll watch something else?
Or I don't know. I don't have to scream and shout from the like rooftops that this is dumb.
Yeah, could spend my energy doing something else.
But that said, I love this episode. It was
me too. It was exciting.
I am so glad that we got a flashback episode very early on.
Mm-hmm.
I know some people complain that they thought it would have been later in the series and they didn't understand why it was so early. But I think we needed it, especially at the end of season 2, episode 2.
Mm-hmm.
May and Osha find out that the other one's alive.
Right. And then that's pretty much it.
And so now we have, at this point, May has taken down 2 Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Osha is very like, oh, my sister, she was mean and like she didn't. You got this understanding that there was some resentment there towards her sister.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think we had to have this flashback early on to catapult the story for it to move forward, because we needed to know why there was so much animosity there.
You need to understand the relationship
between May and Osha, and then especially between May and all the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Because we even saw that the Jedi seemed kind of like shifty about everything. There was a lot of
there's some
guilt.
tension between the mothers, Mother Anastasia and Mother
Koril? K-O-R-I-L.
Coriel? Mother Coriel? Help somebody out there.
So yeah,
but there was tension everywhere, all the way around, and man, the way the Jedi burst in and kind of went about things did not help.
Okay, so background: the witches. These are a different coven. It is not the Night Sisters.
Mm-mm. We don't actually find out what they're called.
No, we just knew they were exiled witches.
Yep.
An exiled or female coven.
Mm-hmm.
That was living on like this abandoned planet, because they even said that there's not like really anybody there. It was pretty uncharted.
Yep.
The 4
and
Jedi.
There just isn't anywhere out there for people like them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And so we have these witches that have these 2 girls, May and Osha, which is a big deal to them because they haven't had, from what it sounded like, they haven't had any kind of young children in the coven for a while.
Yeah.
So, and not only have they not had any, they used the Force to create.
Right. That means like these girls were made the same way that Anakin was.
Nope.
The Force.
Nope.
Because she didn't have a father for Anakin.
Okay. So here I researched this.
Okay.
And I looked this up to find out. Okay, so Mother Anastasia,
Mm-hmm.
she purposely went out and used the Force to like create these children. She went and created, where Anakin, no person had any involvement in actually creating
She
them.
was just like, oh my god, I'm pregnant.
Yes.
I'm the Virgin Mary right now.
So Anakin is truly like of the Force.
Okay.
And then
but they were
Plagueis
manipulating the Force to make it happen.
So then Palpatine, he knew about this and influenced the pregnancy. Like he had influence where they actually used magic, the thread, the Force to create. Like they did a ritual to create
the one
them.
mother is like, I carried them, and Anastasia is like, I created them. Okay, so that means it wasn't an accident.
So that's where there's a difference, because I've seen a lot of people be like, oh, that just negates the whole story of Anakin. I'm like, no, it doesn't, because they were purposely created.
I don't know why that would negate the story.
Because Anakin's supposed to be of this Force and this like myth, like he wasn't planned. He just came out of nowhere, and they're like, oh, now these twins are born of the Force, but they were created. Yeah. They weren't.
But even if they were, if you think about like how much time is in between these, it's a little bit arrogant to think that like only one time in the history of ever has this one thing ever happened.
And
So I still don't think even if they were somehow spontaneously created,
people were
I don't
like
think it negates it. I think it's
losing their
just
mind.
another thing for people to be pissed off
But yeah,
about.
so instead of just being the Force actually creating them, it was a person
She
using.
performs some kind of a ritual with her magic.
Yeah,
to
she
make the,
manipulated the
Okay.
Force. Which is interesting that she manipulated the Force to create these children when they were saying that the Jedi misused the Force.
right, by manipulating the Force.
So that one seems a little kind of like,
Yeah, a little. It's okay for me, but not for you.
you haven't got too much into this. This whole coven to me screams. If you've read the books, you'll know what I'm talking about. The Path of the Open Hand.
Yep. All I can like when I'm going through Path of Deceit, all I could see was like, oh,
It's
oh,
very.
this is so
and
similar.
The reference of mother, like,
Mm-hmm.
it totally makes me think that it may be some line, because the Path of the Open Hand actually does change over time into
Yep.
different names and different fractions. So
And we find out by the last names where exactly that is going.
Because even in phase 1, so
Mhm.
we're going to talk a little quick little High Republic. In phase 1, the Jedi, the pink Jedi, she was actually lived on a compound that was of like the path. And it was a different deviation of it, not the same one, which I think may just eventually.
I don't know if I remember that, but
but I think what happens is they break off into different fractions.
Yeah.
We have the one fraction that becomes the Nile,
Mhm.
and then we have the people that are like, you guys are too extreme, mother's too extreme. Let's just keep practicing, like,
just like peaceful, governing of the Force kind of thing.
And so, but how the Coven acted towards Jedi and how they treated the Force, kind of, but they actually used the Force where the Path did not, because you see Mother training May and Osha on how to use it, which I adored that scene because she's teaching them, and the two sisters are sitting there like, get away, stop.
I know. Like,
like,
she's fighting with
like,
me.
total
She won't stop pushing me.
Like, it was so great. Like, they were kids being kids, and
she finally just loses it, and she's like, oh, they're not gonna give you a warning.
And that, okay, so I think that scene was very important because Mother pushes them with the threads, and you see May. May has quick reflexes.
Yep.
And I'm gonna get into this later. You see her quickly stop her and Osha from being pushed by Mother.
Yep. And she was Oshi behind her.
Yeah. And she's super, super quick. Yep. And we know that May is very excited about becoming a witch in the Coven.
Yep.
Like, this is her life.
This is her goals. She's excited about it. She wants to do it.
And she's
powerful.
And she's excited to do it with her sister, her twin sister. Everything is about her sister and becoming a witch. And doing this side by side and supporting each other.
Yep.
And then we have Osha, who was like, I don't want to be no witch.
Like, I don't want to do the Ascension. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be a witch. I don't. And then she finds out, like, that the Jedi are even a thing. She immediately is like, I want to do that. I want to be a Jedi.
Which is very interesting because, like, I would have pegged it the opposite, I think, initially, that learning about Osha and May, like, I would have thought that May would have gone dark because she didn't, like, May was this dark person because she didn't want to be a part of this and she was being forced to do something she didn't want to. And where Osha with the Jedi was longing to be with that group of people. So they kind of flipped it, and I like that with this show, what you think is going on is not what
it's not. And like, nobody's safe. Anything could possibly happen and everybody can die.
And so it's very interesting to see this.
Oh, she also seems kind of meek, right? And like a little bit meek and a little bit quiet and a little bit, I'm just kind of doing what I'm supposed to do.
But she was the defiant one.
I know, but I would have expected her to be like, I don't want to leave home. But instead she's like, let me out of here.
She's the defiant one that goes to Jedi training.
Right?
Like,
yeah.
That's like the opposite. That's what I'm saying. Like, it didn't.
Nope. It immediately was like, nope, flip flop. You know,
but then she also liked the idea that the Jedi were supposed to be these peacekeepers. And so that's a whole nother thing. The Jedi were on this planet that.
You see those interactions with her and May. And like between the peaceful and the, you know, like with the little flutter bug.
The butterfly? I don't know.
They called it a flutter something, but I don't remember.
Think of a butterfly, and then it made me think of.
But it looked like a little butterfly.
It made me think of Rey and Kylo's dyad. Like,
Yep. The kind of dark and light sides there. You know, May's out there like holding the little bug, like still almost torturing it, and Oshi is like, "Why do you always have to do this?" Which implies that May does this stuff a lot, and Oshi is really upset about it.
So do you think May's the one that pushes Oshi away from wanting to become a witch?
Maybe. I know that we do hear her say, you know, like I don't want to share my life with May. And it's like she wants to have her own identity. She doesn't want to just do what she's supposed to do, what May wants her. And so maybe that pushed her a little bit, like the May just having like a death grip on
May
her.
is a personality and a dominant personality,
Yes.
and that can be exhausting. I know because I have one. I'm not gonna lie.
It's true.
I know.
I love you. We're a good balance.
I know.
I don't get too dominant or too forceful unless I think it's just
But
really
I know
really big. But
that other people can find it a bit daunting and like
yeah, a little bit
I'm
intimidating.
Okay. Yeah,
Maybe.
and I was gonna say it can come off as forceful, and I feel like May with her excitement.
Yeah,
For
kind of pushy, kind of.
for the
She wants
the
to be a
ascension.
witch. Yeah, she's dying to do it. Like,
So like I think that may have pushed it, but the Jedi that were there. Let's talk about these Jedi. They were viewing and stalking these people.
I know. You see Soul like peeking out from behind the trees, like watching these kids with their mom. Like, this immediately is like, did you leave a training manual for Sifo-Dyas for the future?
So funny because Soul's like,
I know.
they just like smile. Hey. Hi.
Yeah.
How you doing?
How's it going? I'm just watching you from behind some trees.
But it's so funny. But so like this poses like a whole very interesting conversation about the Jedi and the recruitment, which we will talk about with the Living Force book that we discussed. I have it all over my TikTok. But so I feel like they were so worried about these children being taught by witches, but then they also got to think about these children being taught by Jedi. It's almost the same cult like.
It is
the Jedi as the witches.
It's the same thing. It's just like, oh, my way's better. No, my way's better.
It's just a different like path.
Maybe both ways are fine.
But I think they were
paths.
so. I think it was more they didn't know what was going on, like the fear of the unknown and the fear of not understanding what was going on.
Especially with this coven of witches, they're such outliers. Like the Jedi really don't know anything about them, who they are, what they can do,
and so I feel like they went in with good intentions.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because
especially knowing the 4 Jedi that went in, like finding out when we find out about them, I don't think there was malice.
And historically, no matter like anything you read or in history, witches get a bad rap.
They do.
And so
they rarely are actually the bad guys.
But there's just, again, I think it's the unknown that people don't understand. And so it causes a little bit of fear. So I think Indara goes in very like harshly and like, we get to train your children, or we get to test your children.
Yeah. Oh, she uses the words, we have the right.
Yeah, we have the right to test your children. With your permission, of course.
So confrontational. Like, you go in and just tell a mom, like, while she's literally in the process of doing, like, the ceremony for her children, oh, stop, oh my god, we have the right to test your kids.
Although one
with
is
your
now,
permission.
which has already gone through the ascension, which is the one that wanted to. May, or Osha, was
a little bit standoffish, so she hadn't gone.
They go in, and I think again, it's that whole we don't understand their like, their religion, their
belief system, whatever. System. Yeah.
So
we're just gonna demand our right to do this thing.
We believe in peace, and we think our way of peace is better than your way of peace. So we're gonna go in and test them, and
as long as you're okay with it.
And it causes
like, no wonder they got mad.
It causes so much strife in this whole community because what was supposed to be a very like symbolic time for them gets interrupted.
Mhm.
And so Mother obviously tells him to lie because she's like, "Do you really want to go? And if you don't want to go, like lie so you can stay with your family, stay with your mothers."
Mhm.
And May does.
Yep.
Oh,
Oh,
shit,
she does not.
does
Well,
not.
she tries.
Okay.
She tries, but then she like tells
He's-
on herself.
She's like, "Oh, that's the mountain," and he's like, "You're correct," and she's like, "No, it's not," and she's like, "Dang it."
Yeah, but that prompts Master Soul, to go speak with her and be like, "Hey, what do you actually want?" You know?
Yeah.
And she tells me, "I want to be a Jedi." He's like, "Well, then you have to have the courage to, what is it? To say what you want. You have to have the."
Did I say that?
Oh, it's a good quote. Dang it! You have to have the courage to say what you want.
Something I can't
Yeah.
remember.
But anyway, and she's like, "Well, this is what I want."
And I feel like
things get
Mother-
explosive from
I
there.
don't- I feel like Mother was genuinely listening to her.
Yeah, Mother Anastasia,
Mother
not
Anastasia.
Mother Corian.
No, Mother Anastasia was sitting down and having conversation, honoring her thoughts and her like concerns.
Yeah, making her feel completely validated and
Mhm.
valued.
May was like, "Screw you, fire!" Like,
Her mother is even telling her, like, and you know she doesn't want her to go. She wanted her to ascend and be a witch
Yeah.
and be part of their coven. And she's telling her, you know, like, this, some force does not dictate your destiny. It's your choice. You choose the way you want your life to go.
I think Mother would have let her go.
Oh, absolutely. She was going to.
I
But May is like, "I'll kill you." I'm sorry, what?
May got really intense.
Little 9-year-old girl.
Really
I'm sorry,
quick.
what?
Really intense.
Yeah.
Really quick. And she's
I have a question, and maybe you can answer this, but you know when she like bursts in and she's like, well, now we can't leave, we're stuck here. I never caught what she did, but she was like, "We're stuck here," and then she's like, "Well, I'll kill you. You can't leave." But what did she do to be like, "We're stuck here"? Did she?
I think she's locking in the doors. I know she got locked in the bedroom. Like,
yeah,
she locks her in the bedroom and sets the thing on fire.
the
We're
art
stuck
journal.
here.
Yeah, she still. Oh, she's art journal and burnt it. Okay,
Yeah.
so she didn't like do something to a escape
No.
pod or something. She just, you think, trapped them in the building and was just gonna kill everybody.
Well, I don't know if she intended to kill. I think maybe she intended to scare and it got out of hand.
Yeah.
That was another thing that people were like up in arms about. That little fire burned down this whole place. I'm like, okay,
She's a witch.
Well, also
with a whole coven behind her now.
Also, it's a show. They aren't going to show the 20 minutes or however long it's going to take to have the fire spread through. You can use your imagination to fill in the gap.
Yes. And figure, people are probably running around being crazy in the middle of this because it's on fire.
People are like, "I can't believe that little fire started the whole thing." We don't know.
I saw a lot of that too. Or I can't believe that burned down those bricks. Okay, but also this is sci-fi. She's a witch. There's magic. Like, we don't know exactly what kind of magic she's using.
Hyperspace in this show.
Right?
There are
Has anybody ever heard of Wizard's Fire? Because Wizard's Fire will stick to literally anything and burn it up. She's a witch. Come on. Right. We can burn down a building with an explosion if we want to.
Guys, it's just...
I think we're preaching to the choir. I think most of our listeners are on board with this.
I think this goes back
it's exhausting watching people be so mad.
But I also think this goes back to, like we said earlier, like so many streaming shows now will just drop all the episodes. And I also feel like, so I like to watch a lot of foreign shows on Netflix instead of like American shows. And I think it's because our shows in the US, based in the US, they literally hand feed you everything.
Yeah.
There's no room for like critical thinking. There's no room to imagine something going on. Where a lot of shows like overseas, like you gotta think and you're like, could that really happen? How did that happen? Instead of here, this person moved here and this person went here and this person did that and this person. You guys. It used to not be like that.
But that's how it is now. And I think they do that because of like shortened attention spans and trying to just get people to stay.
Look at the original trilogy. Luke loses a hand. Next scene he has a robotic hand.
Right. You have to figure out what happened in the middle.
Okay, at some
we
point,
didn't see the scene.
He went and got a robotic hand.
Yeah,
like
we figured that out.
If that would have happened now, they're like, oh, well, how did he get that hand?
Right? We have to show it.
What is this?
It must be magic.
You can't just get a hand like that in the snap of a finger.
So,
Like,
you go to Bespin, you get upgrades.
they were spin.
Oh yeah, he didn't even have to travel to a different planet. There you go. Gonna go pop in and get a new hand.
Use your imagination.
I did see in my very quick foray into angry, they were all men too. Everybody screaming about this was a dude. Anyway, my foray into that, there were people yelling about how every single thing in this was spoon fed. It was like there was no room for thought. There was no room for imagining, and somebody got mad because
Leslie Heelan, the director.
yeah, the other one, yeah, she was like, well, she was talking about something, and she was like, you're kind of just going to have to think about that and figure that part out for yourself. And it was something along those lines, and people were so mad that she wasn't just going to spoon feed it. So it's like, what do you
And
want?
that's the thing. It's a show being dropped weekly. You're going to have to, not everything is going to come out at once. It is a mystery, kind of clue-like story.
Right.
And that's where, people are like, I can't believe they gave the twist right away. Well,
That
obviously,
wasn't the
this
twist.
isn't the twist. This is the backstory to get us to the twist that's going to come up eventually.
Yeah. And we're not there yet.
This is only episode 3.
But I loved it. Back to that.
okay.
I loved it. I thought it was fun.
Okay, so
It was intense.
talk about the confrontation between Osha and May on the bridge
Oh.
after the fire started. And she's like, why do you always have to do this? And and she's like, we're supposed to do this together. And it was just this back and forth, these two sisters fighting, and then they explode. Was it an explosion that caused it? And then they fall. Oh my gosh. I was like,
Yeah.
why?
And they're on two different sides of this broken bridge, and then
And then Soul runs and grabs Osha's hand, and I'm guessing he saw May fall.
yeah, they both did. I think that they both saw May fall.
I don't know if Oshi saw her fall because she's holding up, so she can't see behind
okay.
her. But she
I
did
know
know
that
that she
Soul
fell
saw.
down, and Soul said nobody could have survived that fall.
Right. Okay.
And so, which makes me wonder, did they actually see it or just the action of falling down?
I think it's the action of falling.
And so,
Because you're going back to that when Soul's like, nobody could have survived that. If he had seen a body,
but why didn't we see Force users all the time use the Force to stop people?
I was just going to ask that. Why didn't Soul reach out his hands and grab both of them? And why did he physically grab Oshi's hand?
Like,
that
why
takes
couldn't
so
he
much
just-
time.
Was
He's
it
the Jedi Master.
do the Jedi? Well, okay. Now that I think about it more, we always see them only grabbing towards one person, not big groups of people. And if there's more people, they typically if it's multiple people, we typically see several Jedi having to use the Force together. So maybe the strength's not there for them to do. And this is also 16 years earlier, how
We don't know what their powers are like.
Yeah, and how strong he is with the Force. But yeah, that was my initial thought when I saw that. I was like, why
what are
didn't
you doing?
grab him?
And he didn't. I was like, no, wait, grab him. What are you doing?
And then he takes her, and then they run past all the bodies.
And it's just, however May managed to do that, she killed every single person in that coven in 30 seconds.
So,
and they don't really tell us how she managed that either. So
was it the fire?
no, because they weren't burned. You see
That's
them.
right.
You see them all laying kind of,
In a pile.
in a pile, and the kind of misposed bodies. I don't remember seeing blood. I don't remember seeing slash wounds. They weren't burned up. So
I wonder, what if it's a Force outburst?
maybe, and just the concussion was so big that everybody just.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll find out more about that.
I don't think that story's closed
I'm-
up yet.
Mm-mm.
I know
I'm just
a
so
lot
curious
of people.
about how.
I know a lot of people think the Jedi had something to do with all of them being dead in that room, but I don't think they do. They're like, well, they just all seem so guilty. And my thought on that is,
I don't think it's that they killed them.
I think they feel guilty because one, they literally inserted themselves on this family group, and forced themselves to test these children pretty much against the wishes the coven felt like they had to do it to kind
Yep.
of just get them off of their like out of their space.
Because they weren't leaving. They were like, we have
They
the
were
right to do
very,
this.
yes. And so they go in, they cause disruption between not only the sisters,
But the whole
but the
family.
whole family. It causes, and they're supposed
And
to
the
be
backlash is massive. I mean, people die.
They're supposed to be peacekeepers. They are
Yep.
supposed to be doing good. They're supposed to be like this light, this hope. And they have literally ripped this family apart. And then
Mhm.
because of all this, there's all of them die.
Yeah.
And that's
I don't
the
think that they're
exact-
guilty because they caused the witches to die. I think they're guilty because they're like,
their
they feel like they
insertion-
caused
yeah.
this whole
It was
situation.
a ripple effect of them forcing themselves to test these children that caused all of this to happen. And I think that is the guilt that has caused Corbin to go into deep meditation, to
Mhm.
cause Tanaka to go
Go
off
into the forest.
and live in solitude. Indara, I don't know if she was just kind of hanging back on some remote planet.
Yeah, we don't get much about her. She's just in that bar and then she's dead.
I think she maybe might have took like an outpost far off to kind of just.
It seemed like they all kind of isolated themselves.
Except
right? Like,
Soul.
Yeah, Soul was just
Soul,
like.
But Soul was also different because he trains.
Right.
He takes Osha back to Coruscant.
His heart
personally
is
train her.
so open and so light. I don't think that he could have effectively put himself in isolation.
I don't think he could have either. I think he thrives off of being around people who maybe is an empath.
Maybe, yeah. And that may also be how he feels like he's atoning for this, is training the next generation of younglings to do better than he feels like maybe they did. Yep.
And so I don't think that they were the ones that.
No, I don't think so either. And I understand how that would be so guilty.
I think they just have
for a whole family apart and everybody's
and
dead. That's
so
heavy to
another
carry.
theory that I saw was that people, because we saw Mother
Anastasia.
Oh my god, I'm gonna get that name right one of these days. Anastasia used the magic to take over Corbin.
Yeah.
So I know there are
That's right.
some theories that people think that he may have blacked out and took down all these people. But I don't think Mother would have done that.
I don't either. She seemed very protective of her family, but also very gentle. You know, she wanted her girls to do what they wanted to do.
I think she was okay with pushing a little bit of pressure.
Yeah. Hey, this is what we're capable of. Don't push us. Don't hurt us. But I don't think she would have caused Corbin to murder her entire coven and herself.
I don't think so either.
That's just excessive, I think.
Ooh. Okay, back to what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Now I remember. So remember when Osha and May were fighting during their training? Okay, so we see that she falls, and they're like, nobody can survive their fall. I think she had no problem using the Force to stop herself. Constantly, we see in the movies and the books, people falling and using the Force to stop themselves.
You're right.
I think May was so powerful and had such good reflexes, because we saw her with that reflex stopping
She
earlier.
blocked her mom.
She blocked the floor and was able to leave.
That makes total sense.
And I think
that's
that
the only way she probably could have survived.
And I think that may have like woken her back up to like realize what's going on, because we see her at the tree, and maybe she blacked out in this like bit of like the Force and took down these people.
Maybe.
Like with all this anger. So
because rage blinds you. Yep.
Rage.
Yeah, that is a really good. I mean, that kind of a long drop. That's the only way she could have really lived through that.
Force stop.
You know, 'cause there's nobody down there to catch her.
Nope.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I think it makes sense, because we also see she is pretty powerful in her fight scenes with Indara and fighting the air.
Yep. Even before she ascended, we see she was really strong, and then she ascended.
Yeah.
And that lets her tap into the rest of the coven.
Tattoo that she had on. I didn't catch it till the second time that she actually had that on there.
And she did not, because she did not ascend. Yep.
So yeah, what are some of your guys' thoughts? Let us know. We really enjoyed this episode. It was a fantastic. We needed to have this episode now we have watched episode 4. We needed to have this background to move forward in the story. Like it was pivotal for the progression of the story, and I'm really, really liking how we're getting the story to unfold.
Me too. I think it's exciting. I like stopping on the cliffhangers, even though I don't want to wait. I obviously want to know immediately. It's still like, oh man, there's some of that old excitement for,
Old excitement,
you know.
and it also gives you the time to like nitpick and
Yeah,
kind
think
of
about it.
theorize things and be like,
Talk
oh,
to people, get other
is this
opinions.
gonna happen or is this gonna happen? And it's just
It's fun. It's fun.
excitement.
And, you know, like we always tell you guys, you don't have to agree with us. Just be nice. You don't have to like it. You can hate it. Tell us all you want about what you can't stand. Just be nice. That's all we need.
I'll try to be nice.
Yeah, if you're not nice, we'll stick Denise on you. Before we leave.
Oh no.
So these came from Kevin. Thank you so much, Kevin.
Anytime you say something from Kevin, it scares me.
All right. So, can you guys figure this out?
No, because it's
Nope, because I can't see it. Can you help me? All right. Anybody out there know what does that mean? So basically, you're just supposed to say what you see.
oh really? That's
Mhm.
what it is?
Yep.
So something pear. Something is that a fish?
It's an eel.
Oh, eel, pear, eel. Batman. What is it called? I'm just going to tell you what it is because I'm not going to spend 20 minutes here trying to figure it out.
Imperial shuttle.
It's an imperial.
Yeah, see him, but it's not them. We took out the them.
Oh,
Hair. That's
Oh,
an
like a
eel, and that's a
boy.
shuttle.
Oh my gosh.
Denise and her dad jokes at me with these, whatever these are.
Oh, I got a joke for you.
Oh, let's have it.
This Owen made this up.
All right, let's have it.
This is Owen special. What is a Jawa's favorite food? Zucchini.
No, that's so cute though. Good job, Owen. That's amazing.
He came up with it. He's like, "Are you proud of me, Mom? I came up with the Star Wars joke."
I am proud of you.
I'm proud of you no matter what. But yes, that was a pretty good joke.
Yep.
It's better than some of the jokes in my dad's Star Wars joke book.
I would agree with that. Those are pretty bad.
Yeah. So from our galaxy to yours.
May the force be with you.
Always. Thank you for listening to Sisterhood of the Traveling Bantha, written and produced by Denise McKay.
Edited and produced by Rexy Jupiter. Original logo designed by Tyler Rigney.
Intro and outro music is provided by the Galactic Empire.
You can find us on all streaming platforms at Travel and Bantha.
And join our Discord for fun-filled galaxy chats.
You can also sign up for our Patreon starting at just $3. You get exclusive episodes, merch, behind the scenes, and more.
And a special thanks to all our Jedi Knight members and higher. We have Rooney, Michael Beavers, Mark Collier, and James Peak. From our galaxy to yours.
May the force be with you.
Always.